Teacher learning suitable for the objective learning and according to context.
So, what are the considerations to meet this standard? Please reply in the chat your opinion or main ideas.
Okay. So what are the considerations to meet this standard?
Can you show the standard again, please?
Okay.
Yeah.
Strategies. Teacher learning.
Strategies. Okay. Okay. And the question is, again, so we think?
The main ideas or opinion about this standard. This is a question.
Yes. And I think we already talked a lot last semester about objectives and activities and strategies for beginners, for example. Think of those discussions. Veronica says the teacher must know the strategies. Yes. According to which characteristics, Veronica, do you remember? For example, the beginner students that we talked about last semester? Anyone?
Yes.
Elizabeth say it is important for a standard understand the context of a student.
Yes,
Good.
the context, exactly. Different kinds of schools.
So,
yeah.
Thanks for this and
Main areas of standard force. To plan. It is important that the teacher plans to achieve the expected learning objectives. The teacher plans according to the Curriculum Nacional. The teacher modifies the plan adjusting them to the characteristics of her students. Give to students time, space, and resources needed to learn.
Need to learn. Yeah. So we have
didactic strategies. It's important that the teacher using different strategies for the student and use technologies of the information and communication, TEC, educational evaluation, and teaching and learning process.
What manifests when? Design plans to analyze your strengths and weakness and determine their effectiveness. Learning objectives adapt to student needs and transversal objectives.
So, effective use of time, the feedback, skill develop, use of TEC, and professional practice.
Case. Now my panel and I present two cases. You will have to answer if what the teacher does is according to the standard form. The teacher comes to the room without having planned her class, so she decides to improvise and play various games with the children. Do you think standard form is met in this case?
No.
No. Why?
Because she hasn't planned her class and she don't have any objective, for example.
Yes.
Very good. So, the second case, the teacher planned her class according to the national curriculum considering the need and interest of the student. This standard, this case,
Mhm. Respects the standard.
Do you
is
think that the standard
Mhm.
is correct? Yes, Elizabeth. Hmm?
what do you think?
I think that the teacher plan with according the national curriculum, but if it is necessary, look or considering the need and interest of the students
Yes.
for
Mhm.
practice and more interactive class.
Mhm. Yes. So this case respects the standard. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep. Excellent.
So, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
attention
Thank
and
you, girls.
participation.
Thank you, girls. Standard 4, as you know, is one of the standards about which we talked a lot last semester. It is very pervasive into modules dealing with pedagogical issues and methods and approaches. So you will be studying it probably a lot and revising it every now and then while teaching, while doing your practicum, even in Spanish. And we will also revise it in the end, the last 2 weeks of the module, because you are also preparing an activity, a short lesson plan for the portfolio. Okay, so are you ready now for more revision? Let me check. So as I said, since we haven't seen each other for a long time, okay, is that okay? Yes. Thank you, girls. That was great. If you have any questions, but as I said, this is a standard you will be revising a lot, and we revised a lot also last semester. Well, according to our conversation, coming evaluations have been rescheduled in the following way. Remember the oral exposition, the presentations, and you have until then to do your summaries. Plus the portfolio was pushed a little bit ahead. So you have more time to finish. So you will be okay, I think, in this way. Okay, so what do we need to do in this class is revise past presentations on topics since we haven't met for some weeks. And just revise again the agreements for oral exposition so that we are all on the same page if you have any doubts. And developing listening skills, which was also a revision. That's what you found in the last presentation uploading. And something new, I needed to add something else, which is a little bit of the exam about building vocabulary, which is something important at this stage. You have learned a lot, and a little bit more systematic learning of vocabulary and academic vocabulary at your stage is recommendable. Okay. So in the past presentations, since those that have been following past classes, there were lots of topics, the topics of mistakes, remember, and how can mistakes make you smarter, and how is it possible to develop a high level of competence in a language, in a foreign or second language, and considering mistakes within that process. Moreover, that developed into this theory of the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. What kind? Who remembers having read, having heard? There was a listening exercise about this topic. Who has something to say? Just free discussion. Anything you remember and you would like to say? So it's a little bit of what was presented on 19th October and then last week after the week of autonomous work. Anyone? What do you remember of these topics? What you read, what you heard? Could you access the last PowerPoint with the listening exercises? Girls? Anyone? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
And so you have been reading about making mistakes and the possibilities to grow from there. Anything? Since we were trying to...
Sorry, I didn't read the text. I forgot. So sorry.
It's okay. But since we were talking about not being afraid of making mistakes, because as a process in our learning, how do you think all of this connects? Do you think it is possible to acquire higher level of competence without making mistakes? Or do you think they are part of the process of learning?
They are part of the process, obviously.
Yes,
because
exactly, Caroline.
with the mistake, you can improve your knowledge.
Exactly. Once we recognize there is something faulty in what we said or what we wrote, we can make progress. And that is very much related to growth mindset and fixed mindset. And in the last PowerPoint, there was a video explaining about this, apart from a short text. This is very much related to this. How much do we appreciate learning from mistakes? Meaning we have a growth mindset, a mindset that allows us to see progress and growth and development, even when there are some obstacles. And how is a fixed mindset different from a growth mindset? Do you know this word? Flexible could also be, I think in one of the texts, the word was flexible. What does it mean? A growth or a flexible mindset? If you were reading about this and you needed to apply your knowledge and know what it means. This can be flexible as well. I think I wrote this in the previous presentation. What does it mean? How do you see mistakes or obstacles? As something negative, or just think of these two adjectives, negative or positive? What do you think? And this is not flexible, yeah? The opposite. Any idea? Any ideas? What does it mean non-flexible? Do you understand the word flexible? Do you?
Yes.
Yes. Flexible means that you can adapt. Yes, so you can adapt, you can learn something new. And therefore, this is something that would be desirable to develop. Whereas the opposite, the non-flexible mindset means a kind of thinking that does not allow you to grow, to develop, to change, to learn. And this is very important as future teachers, not only for ourselves, but also because we're going to be teachers. And in the video from last presentation, there are some ideas on how to develop this in students. What do you think is necessary to develop a flexible mindset in our students? What do we need to support? What is important with students? You see this in your practicum as well. Every day, the students you help, what do they need to develop? Any ideas? You too? You do this with them. I saw you. Do you praise their answers? Do you praise them for trying to do the exercises, for example? Anyone? I saw some of you in class, and I saw you you interact a lot with your students, and there is something that students need to hear from their teachers, and that is reassurance, support for what they do, and feeling. Also, they need to feel that it's valuable. All of their trials are valuable, and this is some of the ways. But if you listen to the video, it will be a good practice for you, and also useful for your task, for your everyday tasks. The second revision has to do with your presentation, and we talked about this, but I wanted to make sure we all know we are all on the same page, in the sense that you're choosing the topics in pairs, and that more or less here we have some of the agreements, but please let me know if there is something else we need to consider. So you plan your exposition and upload your plan, we said, for feedback, and that implies the summary, yes? And you have guidelines for writing a summary, pointing out the most important points, remember? And you create an effective introduction. It's very much similar to what we did in writing. So what we did in writing can guide you a lot. Remember, we need a hook. We need to call the attention of our readers or listeners, and focus especially on the main topics so that we don't go away from the main topic and lose the attention of our audience. You can include as many support as you want in the video. It can be pictures, images, videos. You know how to do this. You did this last semester. But if you have any other suggestions, I listen to you. And you are required to participate, as Joanna and Marjorie just did, and the other presenters at the standards did before. You need to speak, to explain. Not very long, it should not be very long, but I'm not going to be, of course, I will not be demanding with this. It needs to be complete. Let us think that if you read the rubrics as well, we talk of task completion and accomplish a purpose of the communicative task. and the software that you can use, but you know about this. This is not mandatory, Alba. You already did this. Is there any other agreement we need to add here that we didn't mention before? Do you think is everything considered? Camila, do you? Just to be sure we are on the same page. And so you're recommended to practice, of course. This is not impromptu. Remember, impromptu is now these conversations will be impromptu when you need to speak without preparation. But in this case, you will prepare and you will be able to talk about this and explain in your own words, and you have time to practice. Moreover, I would really recommend you that for next Monday, the 16th, you already have the pages read. They are not very many. The readings are really short, so that you can explain a little bit orally and you start this practice. So practice makes perfect. Well, no, not exactly. There are different ways to see this, but practice makes you more confident and overcome that fear that you might feel, that anxiety to make mistakes. And remember, we all make mistakes. We're all the time monitoring what we're saying. We are not native speakers, but nevertheless, we make a lot of effort. We study a lot, and we try to make our message, try to get our message across. And that is what we need to do. But trust in yourself, trust that this is a sheltered environment and you will not be judged badly. Remember also everything we talked about, this fear to negative evaluation. And we always think evaluation is negative, and that is something that we also need to change. Yes, growth mindset, remember. So everything is an opportunity to learn, and that is something we need to think about. Please tell me if you have anything to say about this. There are connectors, yes. The presentation, you can use connectors. These connectors will also be useful when we do another writing task. So remember, reading and speaking need preparation. Of course, you do impromptu as well in many occasions, but these are productive skills that need reflection and preparation, and you have the time to do this, and therefore use the time wisely. Yes, that's my recommendation. And practice. And please be ready to discuss some of the topics for next class. That will be very positive and useful, so that we get into the mood and into the topic. Okay, do we agree on that? Everyone? Or is there anything else we need to add in this section? If you're okay, we go to the last revision, which is the listening skills, something I already talked about and you saw in last presentation. And I had the idea of creating this group wiki in which everyone can participate. This is on Educandos. And you collaborate in developing these strategies to develop listening skills. Those that have been already working on this, do you notice any connection between listening strategies and reading strategies, and which can they be? Because we needed to do some exercises now, practicing for the exam. Which do you think we can mention? One or two strategies. They don't have to be many.
What's the question?
So which strategies do you think you can mention that are similar to the reading strategies we learned at the beginning of the semester that can help you in a listening exercise that we are going to do now in some minutes?
Can be taking notes because we can use in reading and in listening.
Yes, exactly. Taking notes is something very, very important. Remember that it depending on the length of the listening exercise, of the listening, this recording we have to listen. Taking notes is something very important that will help you focus. Remember, we are focusing here on the topic. Yes. And before when you are about to start the task, before listening, what do you think can help you?
To predict?
To predict, yes, of course. Read the exercise, try to predict the topic, try to connect what you know. And this is something important because here we are talking about certain topics that we already know or we have been talking about. But remember that whenever you are in the exam situation, it can be any topic. Yes, from the mining in Africa to, I don't know, otters in the west coast of the United States. And we need to try to connect and predict what's going to happen in that exercise. So that is great. And all of those strategies can be already connected to strategies you know. And you know you need to somehow guide your future students in elementary school, even when they're very young, to pay attention to these clues in order to be able to understand the new language, the foreign language. Okay, as an extra exercise, you have a talk on motivation. That was one of the exercises from last week. And this was a free practice from Spotify where you can find real life conversations or some short talks from Amy Whitney or Curtis Davis, in which they deal with different topics. And that is something you can do even just when doing something else. Also from YouTube, you can find lots of people talking in English about different topics. Find something that you're interested in. The point is that you develop as much as you can this skill, something that you can do every day a little bit. So any one of you did the task on motivation, the talk about motivation? We can hear you till I prepare the next presentation. Any? So that is an exercise. That's an exercise from the British Council. I recommend you to do it because it's a guided exercise. And therefore, you will find a listening, but with some exercises, which will focus you towards the kind of exercises you might find in this other exam. Of course, they are all different. They're all different exercises, but nevertheless, as much as we can do, to develop. As much as we can do to develop the listening skill and this ability is welcome. And so please try to do as much as you can so that you continue progressing. Yes, it's just a question of practice. Okay, this next presentation has to do with the Oxford Online Placement Test. And remember, this is a new test for all of us. was presented this year by the authorities of the School of English Pedagogy. And it has taken us some months to study, to try to focus on what was important for you for students to know and develop in order to do it successfully. And there are many positions in regards exams and standard examinations. And some of them say these standard examinations only examine how well you learn to take such and such an exam. And that means practice, really, a knowledge of the instrument. Others think they genuinely measure levels of accomplishment, levels of competence. There are different views, but I would like to know whether you have sat for any other international exam before, like this one. Have you done any? PET, CAT, those are generally done in schools. First certificate, all of those from different universities. But they are all intended to be external measures of levels of accomplishment, yes, levels of competence in the language. And as I explained to you, this is an external tool. It doesn't mean it's going to affect your grades in the module, but we all want you to do well, to be confident, to continue developing your knowledge and not be afraid and rise your anxiety level, remember, from crashing, because that's a negative position and we don't go anywhere and we don't progress. Remember, a growth mindset. We need to think this is not an obstacle, a threat, una amenaza, but it's an opportunity. It's something positive that will help us continue growing. So this is, the test only has 2 sections: use of English, which involves knowledge of many things, but also test your reading skill, and the listening section. Test your listening skill, but also knowledge of other areas of language. So here we will have dialogues, and we will see some examples in which you recognize some grammatical structure, the vocabulary implied there, and you do a multiple choice type of exercise. Yeah? Generally, it's this. Then you have also a short dialogue in which you identify what the speaker means. In this sense, you enter into the world of semantics and pragmatics. That is referring to what we mean by what we say. We go beyond grammar, beyond putting words together to imply some meaning, and pragmatics to the social use. How do we use these phrases, these sentences in social environments? And we have with another meaning. We will see the example, the exercises to understand it. And then we have a gap text in which you are testing in grammar and lexical precision, so grammar and vocabulary. And there you have to write the correct word. The same happens with listening. You pay attention to what the speaker means, so also to the construction of the sentences, of course, but which is the meaning, what is implied in these conversations. So we are very much into the world of semantics again, and pragmatics, how different phrases, sentences are used in everyday language to imply certain meaning and in certain social occasions. Okay, so we will practice in order to analyze those items. Yeah. So what does it try to do? So to measure the knowledge of language and to place accurately and reliably students into different levels of competence. Also gives information as regards teaching and learning. But moreover, this test is practical, and I explained to you this year, the university was at the crossroad at a very important decision to make in regards which was the most practical and flexible exam to be done online due to the present circumstances. And that is why they decided on this test, yes. Moreover, the test has all of these characteristics of a good test. Yes, so it has reliability, yes, the consistency with which a test yields the same results. Validity, so the test measures what it intends to measure, so it's knowledge of the language, grammar, semantics and pragmatics, and it's not measuring something else, your knowledge of the world or some other kind of knowledge. It's objective, that means it doesn't allow for any personal opinion. There will not be anyone, a person, yes, let us say, judging your answers. It's absolutely objective. So we also need to be to understand this kind of testing, which is completely different from what we do in education mostly, in which we judge with a lot of subjectivity. We judge your effort, your dedication to the task. But these tests, these external instruments are completely objective. They don't know you. They do not know how much effort you made. The important thing is the result of what you choose there in the multiple choice exercises, for example. So it's also important to understand that here there will not be any subjectivity, but anyway, the results can help us think in a positive way, in a formative way. Okay, this is something I need to improve. And as I said, with a growth mindset, with a flexible mindset, this is an opportunity for learning, not an opportunity to feel bad and diminished and a failure. Yeah. And usability, because it's practical, it's very short, it's economic in time and money and administration. So it is really a practical test. And all of these are instances that are very much studied in evaluation. I do not know whether you talked about this with Professora Carla, but Carla Förster, but she comes from a school in which quantitative evaluation and all of these terms are very much taken into account and important. So try to connect with some things that you saw in her class. Okay, so what does it measure? Your knowledge of English, in this case, grammatical, pragmatic knowledge, and your ability to communicate a range of meanings. Yes, to understand these meanings while you listen and read. Okay, so you have different tasks. Yes, you are asked grammatical forms, then semantic, meaning, and then pragmatic. They use in social context. We will revise that as well. And then the listening, of course, your listening ability. As I said, the more you listen, the better. The more you practice listening, the better for you. Trying to understand this explicit and implicit meaning. In short dialogues or extended monologues. And in that sense, that link to Spotify can help you, yes, with dialogues and with monologues. Okay, what is syntax? And you are going to read about this for your presentation, but it's a study of rules of language, how to put together phrases and sentences. And of course, the more we know, the deeper we go in the study of grammar, the more we know about how to express complex thoughts and ideas. And we also learn about the tenses, you know, verb tenses, the past, the future, different kinds of aspects, and all of those elements of grammar that you have some idea of, even though you have not studied them formally, but you have idea of them. Semantics is a larger meaning component. So we go beyond grammar, putting words together, subject, verb, object, and we have been revising a lot about this in my feedback when you did the writing. Here, in order to imply a meaning. So it's another step within the knowledge of language. More than single words, it includes complex use of vocabulary, including structures such as word categories, word relationships, synonyms, antonyms, figurative language, ambiguities, and absurdities. So the more we learn about the language, we learn to use the language in non-literal meanings. Yes, I want cake. Well, that would be a literal meaning is that I want something to eat something. But then we can go beyond that and find non-literal meaning. And I think we have mentioned that before, but we will see again. And pragmatics is the ability to use that language in social situations. And so when do I use this language with the meaning I am implying? And you will see an example now. So you integrate everything, all of the rules, yes, and the social context to imply a meaning. So it goes beyond, yeah. It's the outer, if you think in circles, the language in circles, and I will show you the graphic organizer. Pragmatics is the outer circle and encompasses everything within the language. So we see here this example. So speech from a father to his children in the morning before departing for school. Come on, I don't have the whole morning, the father says. And so if we pay attention to grammar only, we say, well, this person is commanding something. Okay, well, calling the children. He's talking in a negative sentence? Yes, I don't have the whole morning. So it's a negative sentence. I use the auxiliary do, not. Have is the main verb. So that's the grammatical organization of the sentence. What is the literal meaning? What does the literal meaning say? I am in a hurry, and if you don't hurry up, we will be late. Yes. Am I right? Or do you understand anything else? Probably. I will say something similar in Spanish. What is the intended meaning? Be quick and get ready. Yes. Otherwise, we will be late. And what is the pragmatic meaning? In which social context is the father going to use this? And which is the meaning? This is a command, yes? So even when I am here talking in just a negative sentence, what he's really doing is commanding the children, giving an order. Be quick, be ready soon. Yes, I don't want to be late. So it's a command from a parent to children. Even when he's using this negative sentence, trying to diminish the force of the sentence, of the command. Esto es una orden, a command. Therefore, in some languages, people try not to be so harsh, not to give orders, not dar órdenes, but try to invite in some way. So from the grammatical form to this meaning in pragmatics, we have a way to go and some ideas to analyze. And that is something we will be doing every week. Do you have any doubts about this? And you do this every time you read, every time you listen to something, to some messages, you already think of this. What is this sentence telling me? Is it literal? Is it intended? There is an intended meaning or something like that. Okay, this is an example from the test. So now your turn to read. I have had almost no energy for 3 days now. Okay, what does the woman answer? Then you I have had almost no energy for 3 days now. So we will do this analysis, yes, but now what do we complete here? Those are simple verbs you have learned. You have modal verbs, you have indicative verbs. Stay home from work. It sounds like you need to rest. Any ideas? Which is the correct verb here? Come on, you know this.
The words in the brackets, we have to choose one, or we have to make like a sentence with them.
No, you choose only one. You choose only one.
I think it's can or should.
Okay, it's a
Can
modal
stay
verb.
home.
Yes, excellent, Veronica. It's a modal verb, but can is ability in general. So which would you use more exactly?
Should.
Should, exactly. It's a recommendation, remember. It's a recommendation. You should stay home from work. Yes, exactly. Okay, so now we're going to analyze this. So this is what you have to do in this exercise. Plus, I will help you do this analysis so that you keep on thinking in this way. So the grammatical form says, I have had almost no energy for 3 days now. So it's a positive, so the sentence uses here positive verbs, but to imply something negative, yes? How else can you express this sentence? Because the meaning is negative. How else? What else can you say? It's a negative sentence. You have to negate the verb. How would you do it? I have had almost no energy. How would you negate? Remember here we have a negative sentence. I don't have the whole morning. Come on, a negative. How do we negate the verb? The main verb is have. What is the auxiliary? Okay. Very similar to this one. No? Which is a negative? Anyone?
Don't.
Don't. Excellent. I don't have. Come on, we will need to think of this aloud. Yes. I don't have what? I don't have. What is it that I don't have? I don't have energy. Yes. A strength. That would be a more Anglo-Saxon word. Strength, fuerza, yes, energy. So I don't have energy. Yes. Okay. What is the literal meaning? What is this person saying? In your own words, tell me your own ideas. Very easy. Mm-hmm. What is the person saying? I have no energy. I don't have any energy. What is he saying? I am very
Tired.
tired. I'm very tired. Very, 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 very tired. Yes, no energy. Sorry, I made a mistake. Okay, excellent. And what is the intention? What is the intention of this person? So he's saying this literally. I am very tired. I am very, very, very. I am exhausted. It can also be saying more than tired. I am very exhausted. I am exhausted. I cannot do anything else. Exhausted. Well, anyway, yeah. And you have seen this word for sure. Okay, and what is his intention? What is his intention? I have had almost no energy for 3 days now. Then you should stay home from work. What is the intention? What does he want to imply?
That he needs to rest.
Yes, I need to rest, to stay home. Yes, excellent. To stay home, to not to go out, to stay home, to stop work. So you're saying lots of things by saying I have had almost no energy. So I want to stop, yes. And what is this pragmatic meaning? Which meaning? Remember here it was a command, but I have many other meanings. In society, I offer commands, invitations, suggestions, congratulations. But here is something we also do a lot in Spanish. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I don't want to do homework. Oh, all this listening, all this writing tasks. What am I doing?
Complaining?
Complaining. Excellent. That's the function. Yes. So the person is complaining. He has a lot of work. He's tired. Exactly. And you have, so every time you read a sentence, you need to think of all this. Of course, this is something we practice. Yes, we practice and we improve every day because we understand all of this. We don't think it, I mean, consciously. When we understand this person is tired, doesn't want to work. Here he's saying literally, I don't want to do any more work. And sometimes we feel like this, don't we? Friday, oh, I am so tired, exhausted, yes? I don't want to do any more work. Okay. So he's complaining. Yes, it's a complaint, or this is the action, or this is the sound, the noun. It's a complaint, yeah? Una queja. Okay, girls. So this is the way in which we always think of the language we listen or read. And this will help you a lot in text situations, in test situations, so in which you have to try to discover all of these meanings to show your knowledge of the language. Okay. Another one. Now here we have some help, some more help. The police found the stolen laptops in the trunk of Martin's car. And here we have some keywords. So we know laptops, of course, we know these are nouns. This is something valuable. The verb stolen. Here is this is used as an adjective, but it's the past participle of which verb? Which verb is this one? Something useful,
So,
valuable. Steal, yes, steal is the verb. And you steal, for example, not a bank, but you steal things. You can steal a laptop, you can steal money, objects. Or in the case of money, you can steal, you can steal candies from a kiosk, for example, little objects.
and how do you say when you steal a bank?
The rob, you rob a bank.
Ah, what's the difference?
It's a difference of, yes, it's idiosyncratic of the language. They use the verb to rob instead of steal a bank. Because steal means an object you pick up. You steal the phones, yes, you steal phones, you steal something, an object you can carry out. But money is uncountable and it implies another context. And then trunk of the car, we know it's a section of the car, but we already understand by the verb steal that something very valuable has been taken away. And of course, it can be in some area of the car, in this case, the trunk. But even if I don't know the word trunk, I think I understand it is inside the car, yes, some other place, some or other place. But here, the key is understanding this one, yes. But the lawyers made a deal. So he just got a slap on the wrist. And here we need to think a lot more of connections to understand the sentence, yeah? So lawyers, the subjects, the lawyers, you know lawyers, most probably it has to do with stealing. So lawyers are implied, even if you do not know the word lawyers, you know the word law, yes, law, you might have heard, it's not very different from Spanish. Lawyers made a deal, well, okay, there we already have an idiom, but you might have heard by certain level of competence, make a deal is something you have already heard. So he just got a slap on the wrist. And here I might be more lost. Okay, so if we think of stealing, which part of the body is implied in stealing? You understood already, steal laptop, steal something candy, you steal a cell phone from a shop. Which part of the body is implied in stealing? And we say something very similar in Spanish. Which part of your body, with which part of your body you steal something?
The hands?
The hands. So most probably your hands are implied in stealing. And we have a saying in Argentina, at least, that implies doing something to your hands. And let me check if you can